Ready?
All right, welcome to another episode of the Taylor Complaints Comedy Podcast. This week I didn't fuck this up. It's not the Defiled Intros Podcast, which was the original name for this, but we're 2 weeks in the future with Kyle from Wake and Lysergic. Last week he got cut off and what he was talking about with being on stage with Trench, but that was a week in the future. You don't remember that? You're not mad at it. You feel good about it. This week we're back
Feel
with
great
Kyle.
about
He's
it.
taking up another 30 minutes of your time, Kyle. How are you in the week that it's been since I've talked to you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
It's literally been 10
You're now,
minutes.
yeah, you're now 38 years old and 2 weeks older.
It's been 10 minutes. My beard has not grown at all, so you know no time has gone by. We were talking about Trench. You were on stage as the lead singer of Wake with a band called Trench, who is amazing live. The singer is amazing, but we were talking about they did a show with Dallas Green. How do they how
Oh
do
no,
you
sorry. They didn't do a show with him. He featured on their record. He featured on the same
That's
record
right.
that I did. Yeah.
You were saying how nervous you were. I remember talking to you, and I don't know if it's okay to talk about this or not, but I'm going on
Oh,
a limb,
sure.
and you were saying how nervous you were going on stage with Trench. What goes through your head when you're guesting on someone else's live concert
Uh,
broadcast, however you would call it, show?
don't fuck up the lyrics. And even though I had like four lines of words that I had on my phone, and like 30 seconds before I'm going on, I'm like still going over them. I'm like, don't fuck up, don't fuck up. And with Wake, it's different. I'm up there. I wrote those lyrics. I have a mic stand. I put my head down, I bang my head, and I do my vocals, and I don't really look at the crowd all that much. With Trench, it's like I'm up there. I got a mic in my hand. This is the first time, and we actually before I went on, I showed up for their sound check, and that was the first time we ever practiced that song together. So going up, I was like, "Fuck, don't mess this up!" Like a sold out venue, not mess this up. And I was nervous. It was like 2,000 people, and a song that I practiced one time. So it's nerve wracking, but it was cool. It was chill. It was a lot of fun.
Dude, I can't imagine what it would be like. I imagine you were like a fan of them before they asked you to be a part of their record. Like singing on a record for a band that you're already like, oh, like this is my vibe. I like this band. Like I can't imagine. Like I think of a couple bands that I would think of. Like who would you like to guest? What are some bands that you would like to be a guest on the record that they would do in the future?
Oh my God, that's a loaded question. I don't know. It's like every band that I listen to, I would love to be a part of. As like to specifically pull
Like
out
current
one
current
band, like
current
man,
bands. You can't say like Death or Slayer or like band. You know what I mean?
no,
Like bands that are defunct.
I'll be like a slut for that shit. It's like anybody asks me, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do a feature. Of course. Like, um, I'll have to put some thought into that. I'll get back to you at a later date with that
No
because I
worries.
can't think of one off the top of my head.
All right. Is it hard for you to keep up with someone like, and I'm not calling you old. I'm not calling you old, but is it a like, you know how kids like to party. I know how you like to party. You know how I party. We're all on different spectrums of like the party scale. Do you find it hard to keep up with other bands on tour that like with their lifestyle and the way that they like to party, or even in
No,
your
not at
own
all, man.
band?
Not at all. I mean, to be honest, out of Wake, like me and the guitar player Rob, we like him. We'll find ourselves like him and I are out at the end of the night a lot of the time together when everybody goes back. Our bass player likes to drink, but he's like he'll drink and then after the show he'll just go pass out. But even all the other bands that we tour with, they're like, everyone's so laid back. Like nobody's huge partiers. Everyone just kind of hangs out in the green room. Nothing's too excessive. It's chilling, like pretty wholesome to be honest.
Really? So I've heard lies.
Yeah.
I do because I reckon I juxtapose it with bands that are like rock bands from the 80s and 90s that would like I mean some of these guys are just like tying off and just you know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah. I
Just
mean,
I
without
mean
I don't want to get too much into specifics about stuff,
no
but I
no no
mean,
no not at all.
it's pretty chill. I mean, there was a time where Wake would go out like back in like 2012 to 2015. I mean, we like some of us would just stay up all night. We'd just stay up all night and then go to the next show. And I mean, I'm fucking 40 now. I turned 41 in a couple weeks, and
That's
I can't do
crazy,
that
dude.
anymore. I can't do
That's
that. Like
crazy.
now, yeah, for me, a lot of the time, because I'm the main driver in Wake as well. So I'll have, and with these bigger tours, we're usually opening. So I'll have a couple drinks before we play, uh, do the set, and then I'll stop drinking. And then after the show, we'll load up and I'll drive an hour, 2 hours out of the city. We'll get a hotel somewhere on the interstate and just sleep and wake up and do the same thing over. I mean, that's the huge difference is before it was party all the time. It's not. It's more like a job and you want to be good and you want to sound great. For me, it's like if my voice is shot, it ruins everything. Like for me, hey, hi, kitty.
Oh, what do you do? Are you what? What are you doing, little girl? What are you trying to ruin my interview here? How you doing? What goes into like taking care of your voice and like how do you for all the aspiring vocalists out there, like how do you provide like an environment for your voice to like flourish and flux like just be
Oh,
able to perform at the
well,
capacity
that's a
to which
tough
you
one
perform?
because I actually had to get surgery like was it 6 years ago? I had to get like nodules and cysts lasered off of my vocal cords because my throat was
Ugh.
toast.
That's probably what I
Oh
gotta
yeah,
do, dude. Ugh.
man, it was so bad. But I realized doing throat stretches, like I do warm ups before we play, like some humming exercises and like throat stretching exercises and whatnot. And the biggest thing for me is no cigarettes or like
Ooh,
smoking
yeah.
anything. No, no, no weed. And as us
Vaping?
Canadians call them, no darts. Vapes are
No
cool.
darts. Can you vape? And
Oh yeah,
what's
I
the
vape.
regulation like for vaping in Canada?
It's fine. It's fine. There's vape stores everywhere. It's just like the States.
Okay.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, I live in California. In California, we can't have fruit vapes now. No fruit vapes. We can have regular tobacco. I don't know what it is. I think it's because they
Oh,
feel
that's
like it's
disgusting.
marketed.
That's so gross.
They feel like it's marketed towards kids. Dude, listen, if I was gonna vape, I'd be vaping the unicorn strawberry, whatever the milk, whatever the fuck it was, over the like, hey, like John Wayne's breath from 1956. Like I would vape the
That's what
the
that
the
tobacco stuff
shitty
smells
strawberry
tastes like.
shit.
It's so gross. um, yeah, it's funny because menthol cigarettes are illegal in Canada. You can't buy a menthol
What?
cigarette, but you can buy like the fruitiest fucking vape imaginable.
Really? You
Yeah.
can you can't buy mint, but you can buy
No, you can't.
strawberry peach, whatever, strawberry peach death.
Yeah. The only
That's it.
cigarette flavored cigarettes you can buy here are maple, like maple syrup cigarettes.
Well, yeah, because that's like your calling card.
It
Without
is.
maple, Canada's the third
Oh,
biggest
and
country.
poutine.
For what reason? Dude, poutine is so good. If folks, if you haven't been to Canada, you gotta go. All the good things in the world are made from Canada by Canada. Maple, uh, hockey and maple. You gotta go. You gotta go immediately. Is it a bitch
Syrup
getting
and
a
darts.
pass? Is it a bitch getting a passport to like tour in the States and like is it that much different?
Yeah.
Is it that much different from
Yeah.
touring in Canada?
It, it is. So if you're a musician from the States, you can just come to Canada. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
have a visa. You just come here. You just show up at the border like, hey, we got shows.
Well,
And
we need a
do whatever you got to
passport
do at the
now.
border.
Now we need a passport. It used to be a lot more lax,
Well, you need a
but like
passport.
today we
So
need
you need
one.
a
Yeah.
passport. So you need a passport, but you don't need a visa. For us, we got to spend like three to five. I can't remember the exact price, but it's between $3,000 and $5,000 for everybody. We
Fuck
have to join a
that
union,
shit.
which is
I
which
would
is called
quit.
yeah. We have to join a musicians union and then get visas and then go like show that to the border when we like show up at the United States border.
Ew.
But you guys from the States, you guys just show up with your passports. You're like, hey, we're here to play some shows. We're like, hey, come on in. It's so chill.
I don't like this Canadian stereotype that we have on Canada that you guys sound different than
They're
us and that
they're
you guys
so
are
fucking
pussy.
real, man.
Everybody said Canada's just full of pussies that don't know what it's like to have a bald eagle on their shoulder and what I don't know whatever the fuck that we would say. But during this conversation, I have noticed zero difference between you and me except that you have the luscious boat of hair that I've ever fucking seen in my life, and it's just all it is making me upset. And I hope that everybody listens. I hope that these 2 episodes get 20% less listens than the other ones. That's all I hope. Just
I'm happy you say that because everywhere I go, they're like, "Holy fuck, that guy sounds Canadian." And you'll notice it if I say, "Oh, I got to go to the car," hacking darts all night.
Yeah,
there's
listen,
certain nuances that you're gonna hear.
But we have people from Chicago and we have people from New York, and like
people with North Dakota.
Yeah, people within the United States have accents. Like I'm from California, but you can clearly hear my bro, dude, whatever. Whoa. Like all my stupid accents that I put on different words that I use, you can hear it. We all have accents. Canada doesn't sound that much different from like Long Island, New York, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas City, like all the North states that are like the more north you go, I feel like the more like palatable the sound of your accent sounds like compared to everybody else.
It's weird, man, because every like I guess it's kind of like the states too. Every like province to state, everyone has like their own dialect. Like if you go to Toronto, they sound different. Have you ever heard of a place called Newfoundland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I don't know where it is.
My mom and my girlfriend are from Newfoundland, and basically that was like Irish settlers when like first came over to North America, landed in Newfoundland. So it's like this weird Irish thing, but they don't sound Irish. The Newfoundlanders have their own accent, and it is like the fucking Twilight Zone. Like it's so different, and it's hilarious though. There's a whole bunch of Newfoundland lore I got to drop on you at some point.
And how dare they come into our continent? Listen, we're different countries, same continent. Go back to where you came from. How dare you come here? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I listen,
now you sound like now you sound like them. You sound like 95% of the Canadians today.
No, dude. Like I'm so like I know this is an election year from my country, but I so like, and I don't want to like out you or out anybody else, but I so don't give a fuck. Like just like we can all just go to the same barbecue and hang out and high five and like have good vibes and hang like I don't know what happened to where we all can't hang out and just like be homies like we used to. I feel like that just happened, right? Does it feel like it just happened?
COVID. I think everything changed during COVID. Yeah, everything changed during COVID. And I can't put my finger on exactly what it was that changed it, but everything changed.
Because here's what it is. I get the abortion shit. You know what I mean? Like I like abortion. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like I don't believe in God. So if someone's like, you shouldn't get this because God doesn't like I don't understand that point of view, but that doesn't mean like I'm gonna be like, fuck you for thinking that. It just means, I just don't get it. I just believe what I believe in. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to have a steak with that person or like have a beer. It just means like, if that certain topic came around, I wouldn't want to talk about that. But I know how to navigate that because I'm an adult. I feel like people don't know how to navigate. They don't want to. If you don't believe what I believe, I don't want to hang out with you. It's weird.
It's a hard thing because like my mom and like not so much my dad, but my mom, like she's a very fucking strict Catholic, and like I don't agree with it. Do I hate her? No. She has good morals at the same time, and I think a lot of it is you can't hang out with people without them just like demanding their opinion to be right.
No.
Like we can't do that anymore. We can't disagree anymore and just like go hang out and have fun together and like disagree about stuff. It's a giant fucking fight of who's right and who's wrong. So I don't know. It sucks. It sucks because I mean I'm more of a like I have a lot of left ideals, fiscally conservative maybe, but like morally left. And I guess that's wrong to everybody.
But it's like,
so
but
that's
you
a little
should.
tough, but it's like I just want to get along with everybody, and I want to understand opinions, and I want to understand, where these people come from, and just have discussions about it. But discussions turn very quickly into a violent reaction on every side. So it's now it's just kind of like it's just kind of fucked up.
This is what I like about you drug people. You guys take your mushrooms and you go on your trips and you touch the grass and the fuzzy walls of the house and be like, I love the wall. But you're touching the carpet and you're like, hey, man, that's been there for a long time. It's carpet. You're touching the ground. Oh, shit. I like that. because there's this sense of like equality there, and you're just like, oh man, like we're all just one. And I know that we like do this and we shake our fingers at people that like have those
Mhm.
ideals, but there's something to that, and there's a freedom to that where it's just like, yo, you guys live on the same ethereal spectrum as everyone else. And you see everybody as everything is an entry level position to you. And I fucking love that. And literally, there's a happiness and a weightlessness to that that no one will ever know. And it's all brought in by the community of like, I don't want to say people that do drugs, but I feel like drugs, they really do expand your mind and they really do open you to all
Oh,
opportunities, and you reach a higher astral plane. Is that wrong? Is
yeah.
that right? Am I on par? I don't do drugs because I freak out. If I have more than 3 drinks, I freak out. So I freak the fuck out.
I'm on number 3 right now, so after
I
this, I
I
might freak
we
out.
we
But
did three. Well, I was on three with you.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's a slippery slope because it can be, and then can become a problem,
You go you go
But I
from
mean,
like
it's all
open-mindedness to like eating your brother really quick.
pretty much, yeah, yes.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't I don't understand where people are coming from, but I do understand this, that we are in the year 2024. We're gonna fast forward. It is an election year, but it's also been a year of like a lot of good horror movies. And I gotta ask you, do you have like a top couple? I'm not gonna ask you for like a certain numerical amount because I don't want to like put you on the spot. But like, are there some that you're just like, fuck, I love this film over that one, over this one, over that?
Yeah, I mean, Terrifier 3 was, I think
Fuck.
Terrifier 3 might have ended up at the top of the list for me. Romulus, I loved Romulus. I still haven't watched it outside of the theater because I'm afraid to. I loved it. I loved it in the theater. I had a couple of issues with it, like Rook, like the Ash AI fucking CGI thing. I thought was terrible.
But Rook, but
And
it was to the point, but they used the AI, and I apologize for interrupting you, but
no, it's okay.
Rook was based on the technology that would like it was based on his likeness from the 1979
Yeah,
Alien, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So like it couldn't have been better than what it was
Well,
because they would have
okay.
put more money into it, I would have
So
figured.
I gotta say this because they did it to Bishop in, I think it was it Resurrection?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
showed
yeah.
up at the end of Alien 3. So they had the prosthetic of Bishop at the in Resurrection, and he was just like that prosthetic, and he was all fucked up and mangled. Why couldn't they done that with Rook, like the Ash character? Why couldn't they have done that? Because it would have looked a lot more authentic. And that's right away my brain went to that. It's actually funny because when we saw it in the theater, my girlfriend just fucking burst out laughing when that scene came up. Just
Yeah,
like
because he
started
looks ridiculous.
uncontrollably
Because he
laughing.
looks ridiculous.
He looks
Me and you,
ridiculous.
we feel the same. We just didn't digest it the same because he fucking looks ridiculous. But I thought it was they were paying an homage to an actor that has passed away because the actor's
Yeah.
no longer with us, so they couldn't like have
No,
him
I think he
redo his
passed away a while ago.
lines. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he couldn't redo his lines. I feel like when they redid Bishop, Bishop was still he was still here, so he could do the prosthetic stuff, or he
True.
could be a
True.
part of that. But
Actually,
again,
that makes a lot of
I'm not
sense because they probably
defending
made it.
I'm not
Yeah.
defending it. I'm just trying to like understand it, I guess.
So there was that. Also, the fucking callback of "Get away from her, you bitch." That just like I was like, oh, why did you do that? I was like, that sounded
Yeah.
so bad. I thought that was such a bad choice. But at the end of the day, that's nitpicking. I actually thought it was a really fun film. I loved how they took the lore from everything, from the entire franchise, and managed to put it into like a cohesive plot line. They took everything from like Prometheus and Covenant, like the lore from Prometheus and Covenant, without touching on those movies and integrated that into their plot. And I thought it worked so well. Like when that end, like weird fucking, I can't remember what they called it, but like that weird, like uh,
Like
the
Alien
engineer.
Resurrection-esque. Yeah, engineer, yes.
Yeah, but it was like an engineer from Prometheus because girl gets stabbed with that needle with the black ooze, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit, what's gonna happen?" And then they have that like weird like engineer alien hybrid or whatever come out. I was like, "Holy fuck! Like, are you kidding me?"
I'm
I thought
really,
that was
really
amazing. But I
I'm really afraid of the rewatch.
that's
I
that's why I haven't watched it yet, because I'm
I'm
afraid of it.
almost avoiding
I'm
it.
afraid that I'm gonna. Well, I'm afraid I'm gonna look at it as too much of a greatest hits movie
Mhm.
than it is its own movie. But I feel what they've done with is they've managed to bring all that lore together. So now moving forward, they can make the true Alien movie. With the
I
sequel that they're going to do to that is going to be like the more true sequel to that franchise.
I love what they did with with the Alien Resurrection, Alien 3, Alien 2, Alien 1. The only thing they didn't do is the alien dog. I feel like that's the only like compartmentalization of Alien that they never touched on, but they did everything with that one movie. They did the chest burster, they did the Alien Resurrection, they went back to Aliens. They touched on they did I don't know, they touched on every Alien movie. They even have the aesthetic of the Alien Covenant aliens onto
Yeah,
certain
I
like
love that.
forms.
Yeah.
And I loved all of that, but I when I walked out of the theater, I was like, this is an 8.5 out of 10. And I spent the whole time driving home like, why is this not a 10? I wanted it to be a 10. I want to love this movie to like the to every aspect of what I could love this movie at. And I was just trying to figure
Mhm.
out like what I didn't like about it, and I couldn't figure it out because they had all of the fan service. I mean they had all to the sound effects. All the sound effects were the same as all the other Alien movies.
Oh,
They paid true
man,
homage to all the films. So why didn't I like this? Why wasn't this a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10? Like what kept this out of that range for you?
I think, well, to be a 10 out of 10, that is an extra, like, it's hard for me to rate a movie 10 out of 10.
As real.
Like, oh,
It's a 10. It's
I
a
would give,
10.
okay.
Dude, you said it.
Okay.
Dude, you
Can we
said it.
just,
You said it yourself.
it,
It's The Descent on Land, and The Descent is a 10. The
it
Descent
is,
is a
it is.
10.
Descent's a fantastic movie. Okay, we're just gonna move on. Okay, let me say this. I think what kept it from being a 10 out of 10 is the fact that it's just nothing really moved it forward for me. Like
Mhm.
remained in the realm of where it was supposed to be, and that's fine because it wasn't really supposed to push it forward. But I think the next film is going to be the one that pushes it forward.
Yeah, because they just, and for everybody listening, they just announced Alien Romulus 2 is coming out, and
Yes, I seen that today.
Fede Alvarez is talked to be the new director, the same director for the new film, but he's
I
just in the
hope he
running.
is. Yeah, I hope he is, honestly, because I mean, I'm not a huge remake person. When it comes to remakes, I mean, you have the usual suspects, The Thing, The Fly, The Blob, the Night of the Living Dead remake. Those are all higher echelon, like fucking remakes. They're amazing movies. Um, I have a hard time with remakes. Evil Dead, I thought he did a fantastic job with that.
Oh, that I mean, to
You
me,
know,
that's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I can't believe it's a remake
I,
because I am the first one to critique a remake.
oh, I mean, that's the thing though, is like it's funny because I really like that movie, but I have a lot of issues with that movie as an Evil Dead movie. But I think it's fantastic. It's one of the only current horror movies that actually elicits an atmosphere of fear to me. Like it's actually like a scary movie. Not a lot of movies make me feel like it. I
No,
can't like I'm not going to go see whatever at the theater and be like, oh, it's like spooked right now. Like that doesn't happen. Evil Dead still to this day makes me feel
it
uneasy
fucking
and like scared.
it terrifies me because like it's about a woman who is an addict who is bereft of control. She has no control over like what's going on, her actions, how she reacts to things. She's trying to regain that within going to this cabin, being dragged to this cabin by her friends that are like, "Hey, you have a problem. Let's deal with this." And then they take the
Yeah.
control away from her friends. So nobody has control, and it's like no control squared for this girl. And then there's somebody trapped in a basement who's slicing their tongue in it. It's all insane. And you're
Man, I
along
thought
for
that
this
that
ride.
girl who yeah, that girl who plays Mia, she's fucking creepy too.
Dude,
Like she's
such a good
so
job.
fucking creepy. Yeah, I
Such
thought
a
it was
good job.
great. But I think moving forward with that, with the Alien franchise, if he can just, he's put all the Easter eggs in, all the callbacks, everything, but now you can move forward with your actual vision, and you don't have to focus on the movie just being a greatest hits of what came before. Because I mean, in reality, I like Alien 3. I like Resurrection for all their faults. I truly do.
Yeah, I agree.
They're
I
not
agree
on
with what
this
you said.
they're not on this like the same plane as Alien and Aliens, but I still enjoy them. Um, so that being said, it's like this has been the first, in my opinion, great Alien movie we've had since 1986. You know, and to make a sequel this far in the future that actually hits, I think they did a fantastic job. But now is the real challenge to push that forward and make it amazing.
Do you want to hear something insane? I just got another sign that we have 9 minutes left. And
Oh, fuck.
so this time more than last time. So for those of you who are listening, the 70 people that listen, we last time we did this last week, we ran out of time and it came up and I was like, oh shit, okay. Like we have 9 minutes. This time it showed up. I had literally this one was like getting rear-ended by a Volkswagen. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? What? There's no, this one caught me by surprise. I was like, there's no way. But to touch on what you said about Alien, I just want it to be gorier. And I know that's a slutty, I am a horror slut in the form of I want gore. And if you can provide me with that, I can suspend disbelief for so much. If you can just give me a
Yeah.
little bit of splatter. That was my big problem with Stream this year. It had gore, but it was 2 hours and 10 minutes long of just what am
Oh
I
man.
watching? But the gore was
Yeah. I
so
mean,
good, but there
well,
wasn't
you can
enough
see
of it.
Damien Leone's like touched what his gore and his effects were all over that movie. You know, like they were it was there. It's just ah, man, that movie did not do it. That was
No.
not it for me.
No, dude. And I feel like me and you, like we differ from like 1 point to 1.5 points, but we're pretty
Oh, for
much
sure.
on par. We're pretty much on par with
Yeah.
films. For me, though, simply with Fede Alvarez in his new Alien Romulus 2, I just want him to realize, like, yo, man, like you're in. We accept you as the director of this franchise. Go forward, do your thing. I feel like he wasn't doing his thing because it did not feel like I liked Alien
Well,
Romulus, but it didn't feel like
I
Fede Alvarez. Do you
I well,
feel the
okay,
same?
so yes and no, because Alien didn't have all that much gore. Aliens
No,
didn't
no, no,
have
no, no.
all that much gore. You know, so I feel like that was also a callback to that saying we can make this movie and we don't need to rely on that for the audience to enjoy it. We can make like we can have our like little bits of gore, but we don't have to rely on it to make it a good film.
No.
We can rely on the tension and the
Mhm.
story and the plot to for people to enjoy it. But moving forward, I mean, I'm never gonna say no to gore. Like fuck yeah, if it was
No.
gory, I would love that. I would
Dude,
love that.
you sent me the most fucked up trailers for films that I've ever seen in my life. I love gore. And this is one of the things that I pointed out when I was like, I do these things where I might not be popular in a sense to where studios are going to like what I have to say, but I feel like what I have to say would appeal more to like the blue collar person who watches horror films. I get that Aliens didn't have a lot of gore. I addressed that in my review, or even like my review after the review of Alien Romulus, because this was Alien Romulus was my number one anticipated film of the whole year. I love Alien Isolation. I love that they're doing an Alien Isolation 2. I love
Oh
all
man,
that
I
stuff.
cannot wait.
I cannot wait. But the fact that people are like, it wasn't gory enough. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's because Alien wasn't a gory franchise to begin with. Like
Yeah.
Alien is very much like it cuts away from the gore and then it cuts back to like the action. It's more of like source material based because there's a lot of like explanation of the xenomorph and of where it comes from. It's very origin based. I don't know. And then
Mhm.
people had a problem with the CGI in Alien Romulus. I'm like, how did
It was only
nobody
the scene. It was only the one scene, and I'm one of those people too. Because right away I was like, "Oh, that looks fucking terrible," you know. And I thought it was a really weird choice to just be okay with how it looked coming out,
How do you
you know. And so,
recreate an explosion in space without CGI?
oh, okay,
Because
not
I know what you're
okay.
talking about. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about Ash, like the
Oh,
rook,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
that
okay,
part.
okay.
That was every other bit of CGI I thought was fantastic. I had no issue with any of it.
I'm
It
talking
was
about
only that one part.
the explosion at the end, or with the dead
Oh, I didn't
space
even notice.
creature, when the lady has a miscarriage at the very spoilers for anybody who has not seen Alien Romulus. The creature at the end, without having to spoil anything, that was clearly CGI and like Dead Space-esque. But dude, how do you recreate that fucking thing after
Yeah,
practical
yeah.
affecting everything else? It just feels like
I
people
mean,
nitpick at that point and they want to hate it.
oh, I mean, people are just, okay, that's like getting into the whole internet hive mind fucking thing that you and I have talked about over
Yeah, of
text
course,
a whole
dude.
lot. It's because people can't even make up their own minds anymore. They read a post or they see somebody saying something on a reel and they're like, oh, that's how I feel now, without even actually taking it in themselves. And like
Do you watch any other like horror people and like dissect their opinions or like look at their opinions and go,
yeah,
"Hey,
I mean, there's some people that like they bring certain plot lines to light or certain things that I've kind of glossed over to light that I'm like, oh yeah, and which kind of like I fall into what I just said. It kind of makes me realize a certain thing, but I'll
yeah,
still decipher that and make my own opinion on it because no, I don't want to just think the same thing as everybody else.
no."
It's I watch movies for me, not for anybody else. So I like I like people's opinions, but at the same time, I don't really give a shit about what anybody else has to say about a horror movie.
I just there's there were so many people who gave Alien Romulus like a 4, a 3, and a 2. And like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was immediately in their comments like, "Yo, what the fuck did you watch?" And listen, I don't want to disrespect anybody for their opinion. If you have an opinion, that's because that's derived from an experience that you had and in the same seat that I sat in, that Kyle sat in, we all sat in and watched the same film. So like whatever you feel is what you feel. I just want to understand. And it's
So
sometimes it's just really fucking hard for me to get on the same page as someone else. I'm like,
yeah,
I want to understand respectfully what you think, but I don't
you
know.
know what a movie is that I feel like I'm in the other seat for is Prey. That
Oh,
Predator
come
movie
on.
that came out a few years ago,
Come on.
Prey.
Don't do this to me.
I hate that movie.
Oh,
I
you
hated it.
motherfucker.
Hated it.
I'm gonna watch it.
I hated it.
I'm gonna
And you
watch
know what?
as soon as this interview ends, I'm going to watch Prey and I'm
Dude,
gonna
okay.
try and see what you see.
Okay, hear me out here.
You son of
I
a
wanted to
bitch.
like that movie. I wanted to like that movie so much. I thought the setting was great. I thought the actors all did a fantastic job. I thought it could have. I think there's a great movie buried in there. The CGI on that fucking killed me, man. It absolutely killed me in that movie. And like, do I need a depiction of a food chain? Like that part where like the rat
You're
eats
not gonna
this
get
and
a
the
real
snake eats the
bear.
rat.
You're
And
not
then,
gonna get a
but
real
then you,
bear to fight a predator in a fucking movie, Kyle. You're not.
okay,
There's no real bear anywhere that's gonna get on screen unless this is
bro,
Jackass 3.
have you ever watched Zombie before? They had a motherfucker fighting a shark underwater. Okay, so let's not go there. It's actually
Dude,
funny. We were talking about that on the weekend. We're like, when in time after Zombie has anybody been dressed up like a fucking zombie and fought a shark underwater? Like that doesn't happen. But the
I'm
other thing
screen
with
I'm
Prey,
screenshotting a picture of you tomorrow, and I'm be like, Kyle didn't like Prey. Let's revisit it. This is Prey from whatever year it came out of, and you can find it on Hulu. And then I'm doing a full breakdown, not even a breakdown, just
full
like
breakdown.
the minimal low intellect breakdown that I do on films. I'm
Mhm.
doing, and it's all going to be inspired by you because of this
Okay,
conversation right now.
now
Tomorrow.
let me touch on something else. That fucking weapon she has with the two axes tied together with a rope, it doesn't fucking work. You can't do that. That doesn't work. It's not, and I understand it's a movie about an alien coming to Earth and hunting humans, and it's not real. But that weapon doesn't work. There's actually a guy on YouTube because I was like, there's no fucking way that this works. So I typed it in to Google. I'm like, hey, Google, would this weapon actually work? And I went to this guy's YouTube page. He built the weapon, tried to use it, doesn't fucking work. So that's
So
bullshit.
I'm sorry that the science fiction weapon did not work, Kyle. But this is make believe. Ladies and gentlemen, we have less than a minute. I don't know how this happened because
Shit.
Kyle's one of my favorite people on the planet, and you can find him on Instagram at VVOLFBLUTT, a wolf's blute, but with a V. He sings for the band
Yes.
Wake. You can find Wake on Instagram. He sings for Lysergic. You can find Lysergic on Instagram. Kyle actually just made a TikTok, and you can find him at the same Wolf's Blue, but with a V. Kyle, do you have anything else to plug? And dude, I hate cutting this, but like as soon as
Nah, it's cool, man.
I
I
don't
got
want this
nothing to
thing to
plug.
end again. You'll be in the show notes on the
Uh,
first one and the second one with all of your tags